All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today is August 5th, and this is the New York session. So the trade we took in the morning, so this already achieved a 1:2 risk to reward. So at this point, this trade should be at break even. We are going for 90-point stop loss, which again is high for US30, but it was a valid trade. We are around the all-time high. So from our entry here, price went a little bit into drawdown as we were leaving the live session, but price came back into profit and dropped about 184 points. So as I was mentioning in the morning, once you achieve a 1:2, you should go ahead and set break even. You should go ahead and set break even. Then gold gave an entry after the morning session was over, right? So if we look at this one for gold and see what happened, because we were waiting for gold to come, and it's already 1:30, so we should still also start looking for possible entries to take. There's a sell, but again, I need the 1:30 to 1:35 candle to close. So here for gold, if we see what happened, if we kind of do a bar replay here, you can see that we had identified some of these zones. So there was this zone. There was a zone right here. Then there was this little zone right here. But price kept pushing up. So this one was what, 1105. So price had gone up there. So this was one area to put a pending sell limit below the low of this candle, but price kept pushing up. Okay, so the one that so if you look up here, we had this zone here. And what happened when price got to this zone? Price rejected from that inner supply zone. I'll just go ahead and replay this. Price rejected from this inner supply zone, big wick rejection, nice bearish candle. So at the low of this candle, you go ahead and set your pending sell limit or pending sell order, stop loss above the high of the candle. So this would have given you like a $9 stop loss on gold. You go for a 1:3 and set break even at like 1:2. Sorry, set break even at like 1:2. Set your pending order right there. And for this one, got tagged in, and then price dipped down, right? So there's your 1:3 on gold. So this is an example of that. So right now, since it's 1:30, we can start looking for possible opportunities. So what do we see here? Let's start marking up the zones. So we have that supply zone right there. And then we have this buying zone right here. So we have inner supply up there, inner demand down here. So at this point, we just need a candle rejection from any of these zones with a good entry or with a nice candle. So this particular trade, this should be at break even. This US30 trade might end up being a swing trade as opposed to an intraday trade. All right, so for US30, let's mark up the zones. We have inner supply. We have areas of inner demand that's right here. somewhere there. Actually, let's do this. All right, we have this zone, supply zone right here. For gold, let's see here. And again, with the afternoon session, the best thing is that you get a tight stop loss. All right, so this inner supply zone, the 5-minute candle has closed. This supply zone that we had marked up is invalid, so we need to wait for another one. For gold, we have some zones up here. If price does get to them. So we have this one. We have this one. And we have this one at the top here. All right, let's see if we get anything. For US30, if we get a trade for US30, I won't take it because we already are in this trade here. That's a bit long. Well, since I'm already in a sell for US30, we'll see. It depends on the candle we get. It depends on the candle we get. But for US30, since the trade we took in the morning is still going, it did hit a 1:2. If we get a US30 trade, I'm not sure if I'll take it since this particular trade for US30, it should be at break even. For you guys, I definitely recommend break even, but for me, I'm going to hold it either way, either to stop loss or take profit. But 270 points for US30. After the morning session for US30, US30 is probably not going to hit 270 points unless there's like a heavy news event in the afternoon. So this might be a swing trade, like either it's going to hit TP or stop loss between today and tomorrow. Only thing, so don't forget up here, we do have all-time high. So this area at the top here where the stop loss is acts as a magnet. But for US30, for buys, I would wait for price to come back down here. And if I get a buy for like 20-point stop loss, I would be willing to take that. And hopefully we do get like something in the afternoon, so that I show you guys how the afternoon sessions are pretty nice. They give you like a tighter stop loss and take profit compared to the morning sessions. Yeah, so we're currently in a supply zone here for US30. So if we get a weak closure or a nice candle closure like this current candle, so let's start measuring this candle right here. Again, since I'm already in a US30 sell, I will not take it. But this would be like a good, if I wasn't in this sell that's right here, this would be a nice opportunity to sell US30. So let's see. So in this instance, you would need a 20. So you can see how the stop loss is low. So even a 30-point stop loss and a 90-point take profit. And even you can get away with a 20-point stop loss. Maybe not 20 points. So maybe 25-point stop loss, 250. This would be like a 75-point take profit. But we have to close with a big wick to the upside. So the wick has to be bigger than the body. And then you just set your pending order down there. Actually, you know what? I do have other accounts. I can trade this on some accounts I use, or I trade manually. Give me a second. Let me see if I can get access to that account. But if this candle closes this way and stop loss below there, so the only thing is if I trade in the morning and in the afternoon, I have to use two separate sets of accounts. So let's see. Is our zone still valid? Yes, the zone is still valid. How big is the wick? The wick is 7 points. The body is 3 points. Okay. So in this account here, in this account that I have here, I'll set a pending order below the low of this 5-minute candle. 25-point stop loss. 25-point stop loss and 75-point take profit. 75 points take profit. So the low of this kind of. And then let's make sure, I just don't like having this zones on the whole time because it kind of clusters your chart. Let me push this to the edge a little bit. So we need to make sure, actually this can be another entry here, right? So you get the entry would be below this candle, the current entry. But if the current candle also gives us an entry, the entry would now be on the new candle. So this is 25, so 75. Stop loss, take profit. Pending sell. So sell stop. So right now I have a sell stop below this candle on one of my accounts that I trade manually. So for this one, I won't use my main accounts for this afternoon trades. So in the morning, we had one loss, and this trade is still going. So one loss. The second trade achieved a 1:2. This trade should be at break even, if anything, for y'all. For me, I'm still going to hold, whether it's to TP or stop loss, at least for this week. Next week, I may change and maybe start doing break even, but I really don't do break even. All right, so we'll see if this will trigger here. But we have to make sure that this supply zones hold. If this candle closes as a bullish candle, we'll probably have to close out the pending order. Gold. So nothing for gold. So we'll just wait and see. All right, so let's see. So this candle, how does this candle look and what our zone's telling us? All right, so this particular entry, how big was this candle? Let's see. I still have my pending order there at the bottom of the previous candle. So the wick was what, 10 points? How big was the body? The body was 8 points. So actually, the other candle as well. So either way, you could have, and I'll keep my pending order where it is, but this candle was valid because we had a weak rejection within the supply zone. And then this instance, you have what? I didn't catch this, so I still have my pending order down here. But this particular one, you can see, right, how some of these stop losses get like pretty small. So you could have like a 20-point stop loss and 60 points take profit. But for me, I still have my pending order below the low of the previous candle. I like the previous candle better. But either way, if we're still going to push down, we're going to push down into the other pending sell stop getting triggered. And then hopefully it pushes down back towards the main trade. But the only one that I'm waiting to get into, the only sell that I'm trying to get into is this one right here. So this other one is based off of this candle, but the one I want is the one that we have down there. Now, the other thing to note is you can edit your stop loss to, because here what do we have down here? These two zones are demand zones. So if price pushes down from here, we already know that it will have a hard time breaking past these zones, unless we get like strong bearish candles. So maybe you can have your take profit such that your take profit is somewhere within these demand zones. So just keep an eye out on if this trade goes or starts selling. Keep an eye out on what may happen when price gets here. And even to the left, you can see how we have all this big wicks where price was having issues breaking down from. So long as this zone remains here, I'll keep my pending order. If this zone disappears or is made irrelevant, I will go ahead and delete my pending order. All right, so that supply zone got taken out. So it's no longer there. So at this point, what I do, I go ahead and cancel my pending order here. And then wait for another one to be set up. So we'll just wait for another one to be set up. So US30, nothing really. Gold, nothing. So this trade from the morning might be coming back to break even, but we'll see. I'll just keep this on here so that we can see if anything gets formed. So let's see. Gold is pushing. Gold, we are almost at some zone, but gold has to push up here. Has to push up and give a rejection somewhere around these zones. And at that point, we can look for a selling opportunity. US30 is pushing back down. Unfortunately, it took out the supply zone. This other trade is still valid. It's still going. The trade from this morning. But right now, took out that supply zone that we're looking at because we had this pending sell order here. But for me, I canceled it. So unless we get another, we do have a demand area here for US30, another new-ish one that's right here. So let's see.
Your life real smart, friend. He's outside a KFC during a food delivery train when two men pulled up on a motorcycle. The two men on the bike fled the scene, and reportedly no arrests have been made. There we go. Okay, and last question. Would be a better president, Gavin Newsom or Steve Bannon? You think Gavin Newsom? You think what? Good. Okay.
All right, so gold is approaching one of those supply zones, so we just need to watch what happens when it gets there. All right, so it's tapped into those zones. So we just need a wick rejection and a nice wick rejection or a nice a nice bearish candle. So pretty much something like this, right? So this one right here that gave this entry. So we need something like that. That would be preferable. So we need a nice wick closure. We need the wick to be, in order to set a pending order for this trade, we need the wick to be longer than the body. And this would give like a $5 stop loss, $15 take profit. So let's see how this wick closes. Yeah, this might be an opportunity to set a pending order for this one. I'll go ahead and set a pending order for this one based off of the closure. Wait, let's see. It's going to start preparing. No, so no pending order. The body is larger than the wick, and you can see here that lower inner supply zone has been taken out, so there's no need to do a pending order. Now we can get an entry based off of this candle, so we just need to wait. And my trading platform is Uh, my trade. Okay, there it is. All right. So let's see. This can give a very tight stop loss, like a $3 stop loss, which is good. 1:3 would be a $9. All right, we have about a minute remaining. Okay, so this is a nice candle here. So we have 27 seconds remaining. So stop loss would be about a $3 stop loss. So just check where. So this might be, depending on how the candle closes, it might be entry on, might be a market order based off of. So this would have to be a $5 stop loss. And I'll put my pending order below the low of this candle. So the low of that candle is, oh, I'll just enter manually at this point because, wait, give me a second. I'll put a pending order, 53.17. All right, so I have a pending order and it might get triggered any moment now. All right, $5 stop loss. Let's see how it goes. All right. So this might end up getting taken out. Yeah, but this is such a strong bullish candle. So this might end up getting taken out. So for this particular ones, I give myself like three back-to-back losing. So if I have like three back-to-back losses is in any day for any of the strategies, I just call it a day. Um, all right. So gold unfortunately doesn't want to go down just as of yet. So that ended up being a losing trade. So today for the live sessions, unfortunately, so one trade has hit a 1:2. I'm still running for US30. First gold trade we took today here, this sell lost, and then this one as well lost. I'll take one more trade to see because I know for this particular trade, it's already in profit. So two back-to-back losses. I'll see if we get anything for US30 here or anything for gold. I definitely prefer gold because I feel like in this afternoon sessions it moves a bit swifter. Like the one I showed you guys from yesterday where I took a loss from my first gold trade in the afternoon and then took two back-to-back wins for 3 hour each. So I'll stick around for one more trade, but if for that trade as well it loses, then that will be just it for the day. Also, this is NFP week, so there's definitely a lot of back and forth, but we'll see if we get something that gets back up. All right, so this has been taken out, this has been taken out, this has been taken out. So we are remaining with this zone up here and this one right here. For US30, let's see, is
Nena umetumwa na mama, unajua blender iliharibika na inabidi kulia mtoto kurudi. Wewe akarekebia miaka bila ndio unatembeaga na mautamu. Na nikakuru confirm, nikakuru. Sasa unazidi kutafuta fundi, unajua fundi na fulani na kuja. Anakamhadi kwa toa. Process. Process, huh? Yo.
All right. So US30 is pushing back down, same as gold. Unfortunately, gold, we got to tap into this supply zone here, but the wick was smaller than the body, so there wasn't anything to do with that. US30 is pushing down, pushing in the direction of the trade we got in the morning. We do have this inner supply zones where price currently is at. The first one has been taken out. So we are remaining with two zones here. And actually it's, yeah, if I broaden this, should be something like that. If we get a weak rejection to the upside, that would be a confluence for a buy, but given US30 right now, they may not go back to the all-time high today. And for US30, if it's the all-time high, they typically go back to it like Thursday or Friday. So actually, it, it looks like it is sells for US30 for now. Yeah, if only we had gotten a tap of that supply zone with this candle, this would have been a nice sell. 42.62.65, but like a $3 stop loss, -7. Yeah, this would have been a nice, if only we had gotten a tap here, this would have been such a nice entry. But anyway, we didn't get a tap. But during the afternoon session, like you can see even this trade that hit stop loss, how the stop loss was so little, right? Like a $3 stop loss. Oh, this one was $5. But you can see here, we came so close to retesting this inner supply zone, and this would have been like a nice entry here if only we got like a retest, but unfortunately we did not. For US30, let's see, we'll see how US30 goes. But honestly, I really don't even feel like taking buys on US30. So hopefully all these buy zones are invalidated. So this trade that we took this morning, I would consider this again a swing trade. But I think it will hit take profit eventually. But you guys should have it at break even because right now it's at 1:2. So stop loss was 90 points. Currently we are at 160 points. At the low here, we hit about 180 points. So I do recommend either taking partials or just setting break even. But for me, the way I'm just going to hold it as is. All right, here for US30, possible setup for a buy. Pretty small stop loss. Um, let's see. So let's see, depending on how the candle will close. If it closes with a wick at the bottom, so give you like a 20-point stop loss, or even like a 15-point stop loss, 60-point take profit, not bad. But it depends on the wick at the bottom. Doesn't look like it's going to give that. Yeah, it's not going to give an entry, which is even good. I really don't want to. Yeah, so no entry for a buy. And given what US30 is doing here, I think we're about to see a big spike down because all these areas, remember before we started the live session, how I mentioned all these areas here, these are liquidity areas. So any buyers that took buys here, similar to us who took sells, where's our stop loss? Our stop loss is at the high, right? All-time highs. So any buyers that took buys, this is where all their stop losses are. So it's an area of liquidity. So that's where if US30 breaks this wicks to the downside, you'll see a big spike to the downside. So I really don't even want to get any buy entries here. But for me, the way I trade, I take every valid trade. So long as my trade validates, it doesn't matter whether it's in an area of liquidity or not. So long as the trade validates, I take my entries. All right, so we are still in that demand zone, and US30 has created. Yeah, I think we're about to see a nice spike to the downside for US30. We created another inner supply zone here at the top there. And this trade from the morning is still running.
Yeah, so wait, come on, put your finger on mine. No, 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 no. There. What's doing that? Calm down. No, listen. Yeah, we're going over here. Right here. Turn that, is that on? The camera? Yeah, turn the camera on. Yeah, it is on. Our cameras are on. Stop it. Listen. All right. Listen. No, he's doing that. Listen. We believe that you've already admitted to being intoxicated. So we believe you're under the influence. Body exercise. You understand what that is?
All right, just a sec. All right. So what we have here, we do have a valid buy. Let's see if this zone, so this zone is still holding. So in this particular instance, you have a valid buy. This would be same thing, 20 points. It's not the best area to take buys, to be honest. So if you do decide to take it, stop loss would be above that, above the high of the current candle. You'd need a wider stop loss. So you'd need like a 30-point stop loss, 90-point take profit. Uh, we'll see. All right. I'm taking a chance on this one with a very, very small, with a smallish lot size. Because here, US30, I think US30 will pull back down and spike to the downside. But for this particular one, it's 1:3, risk to reward. Don't forget, we are still in this major, major big trade, which is like a selling. US30 is in a downtrend, so this trade is counter trending, definitely. But it is a valid trade. We have 15 more minutes before the afternoon session is over. So we'll see. For this, maybe even going for a 1:2 instead of a 1:3. I mean, we are in a demand zone, but you can see here the full take profit is up all the way up here. But again, this one using a smaller lot size, or smaller risk. The best entry would be for gold. Gold would give a better entry if it got to this supply zones up here. But US30 right now, I'm not really convinced of pushes to the upside. So let's see, is this still okay? So that inner demand area got taken out. So right now, this trade is based off of this inner demand area right here. So that's the one that it's based on. All right. So in about 5 minutes, I'll be ending this afternoon's live session. Because again, 5 minutes before 11 a.m. and 5 minutes before 3 p.m. is typically my cutoff time for trading. So for tomorrow, let's see. Tomorrow we won't have a morning live session. We won't have an we'll have an afternoon live session, but tomorrow's live session will start at like like at 2 p.m. Yeah, so we'll miss the first 30 minutes, but we'll start tomorrow's live session at 2 p.m. And then Friday, I don't think we'll have a morning live session. So, but typically most of our live sessions will be in the afternoon. So maybe once or twice a week we'll have like the morning live session. Let's see how gold does in the next 5 minutes. Because if we push up and let's see where we are. Gold is tricky. There still is a no. Because if gold pushes up here and gives a rejection in the next 5 minutes or this 5 minute candle, then that would be a possible entry, but I don't think we'll get anything for gold. For US30, depending on how this trade goes, if this trade gets stopped out, that will be, if this trade gets stopped out and then this big one wins, that would just be break even for the day because this one we're going for 1:3. In the morning, we took this loss on gold down here, and then this loss right here in the afternoon session. And again, same thing if this US30 trade loses, it would be 3 losses. But then if this big one wins, it would be just back to break even. So that's why for this trades, I'm going for like a 1:3 risk to reward. After the NFP week is done, markets should move a bit better. The issue with some of these trades is the consolidating period or consolidating periods. But once you do get wins, sometimes those wins end up stacking up. So for example, if worst case, even if worst case, the big trade loses and then this one loses as well, and we win the next one, you just be down like -1 R. And going forward, since we'll have like mostly afternoon sessions, most of our losses won't go to like 4 losing entries because ideally I want just to focus on just trading either morning or afternoon session. So maybe it might be an instance where if we have a morning session, we don't have an afternoon session, but I really do like the movement in the afternoon sessions. And it's what 2 minutes before 2:55. So let's see what happens in those 2 minutes. But once it reaches 2:55, I'll just call it a day and we'll just come back tomorrow. Yeah, but US30 is in a downtrend. If it does break these lows, we should be able to hit TP on this broader or wider trade. Okay. So it is 2:55 p.m. If you're in this trade right here, well and good. Just know if you hit 1:2, I would recommend setting break even for this US31. For gold, there's really nothing. And then we'll just pick up from there tomorrow. We'll see how both of these trades ended up. But so far for the day, just -1. For each of these trades, I normally risk 0.5% per trade. So we'll just see how it ends up going. All right, guys, I will see